we're going, you've got some book burnings, we might have to stop by some, very sad times in history, but few people pass away, but it's going to be hopeful in the end. Trust me, it's just not a good pitch. So we went another route.
We did. So probably, as Ava talks about all of the specific challenges of, telling this story and the way we wanted to tell it, at its core as filmmakers, we had done independent films many years ago, but we hadn't done it at this level at this point in our careers. So a big challenge was just going back and remembering kind of how to do it yourself. Not having all the help and infrastructure of the studios, which is the good side of it, but we also wanted to be free of all the opinions about what could or couldn't work, and that was super important to us. Probably the other big thing, and maybe Matt can speak to this, is shooting this movie in 37 days in 3 countries. We had a very limited window of time that we could film. This is before the strike, so actors were super busy. Even getting actors booked was really difficult for an independent film. And so we really had to build a complicated schedule where we were able to get actors in and out of town. And Matt, who's the DP, also shot the camera himself, which is a rare thing. And so we were running lots of film through a camera, shooting film for the first time for Ava. That was a new experience. So we had lots of things that, all I'll say is made the journey much more interesting.
That's a nice way to say it. Yes, right here.
You put a lot of personal information about Isabel in the movie. What was her reaction to the movie?
Well, she participated in the film, so we talked for, I don't know, maybe about over a period of 2 years. We had a lot of communications and correspondence that we started talking in 2020, so the bulk of a lot of the way that we connected was over Zoom. And I'll just say, because I don't want to speak for her, she was incredibly generous and incredibly gracious. I've lost people in my life, and I don't know if I could sit down and tell a stranger about it. But she trusted that my way into the story about Caste was to go through her experience, because in my mind, the trauma that you face with personal loss is not much different than the trauma that we face in society through so much of the loss that we experience living together and treating people the way we do. So I was really interested in that collective grief and personal grief and trying to put those side by side to tell the story. And she embraced that idea and opened up to share the stories that you see, and I interpreted them in the way that they hit my heart. Like when she talked to me about Marion, I fell in love with Marion just from her stories. And as I was listening to her tell me stories about Marion, I was thinking of one of my great best dear friends, Niecy Nash. And I called Niecy and I said, "You have to be Marion." She said, "Girl, who's Marion?" and she was on a TV show, an ABC TV show. She was booked. She worked Monday through Friday on this TV show, and she went to her show and said, "My friend needs me, I need to have Fridays off." So she shot all of her work on Fridays. She would leave the set, the ABC set, on Thursday nights, and she would fly to Savannah, Georgia. She would fly overnight. She would work Friday all day and then go home and go back to her show, because she is a good friend of mine, and she fell in love with Marion too. So hope that answers your question. So yeah. Any other questions? Hi.
Hi. I don't have a question as much as a comment. It's just so, this film moved me so much, and there's so much power in it, and the personal stories, it's told so well, and I just want to congratulate all of you, because it was really a very powerful and touching film.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much. One quick thing I just want to shout out is in the book burning sequence, we actually shot that sequence in the real place where that book burning happened. And I just wanted Matt to talk a little bit, because one of our collaborators is here. He's here.
Hey, buddy. Whoa! I'm still holding my breath.
Hey, you should be out here too.
No. I felt like I can't even express how I feel right now, because it's. I mean, Ava, I worked.
Don't tell you, this is Chris. You want to introduce your collaborator?
Christine Ng, ladies and gentlemen, a wonderfully talented
Matt recruited three actual DPs. We had 5 cameras running? 5 cameras running. We had one night to get the scene on the Real Square in Berlin. Somehow Paul Garns convinced the Germans to let us fly the flags. Really difficult. Fly the flags, have a whole German army dressed up, create a fire, real fire, on the square to recreate this. We did it in the middle of the night. We had from a certain time to a certain time to get it. We brought in 5 cameras. We were running true DPs. Don't just run the camera. DPs in their own right. And they all came to work with us for one day. We had 2 days of strategy, and then we hit it. And that's one of the woman who made it happen there. So Christine.
Ava and I have worked together on When They See Us, which for me, I operate on that. And for me, it was such an emotional journey in watching this. I mean, the way you tap into every single emotion, love, hate, I mean, intense sadness, but like, and being there to witness your collaboration too, Matt and Ava. And I've been there before. I worked in Holland with you guys, and every time you do something else, I'm just like, how? You know, I was there, and I don't understand how it happened. And how do you hold that emotional weight for so long and so carefully in every single way, to your actors, to your extras, to your camera people, to, you know, to the score, to everything. And it's so fast when it's there. It's like, it's so fast in the pace of this, the way you cut it, the way you hold us, it's so tender and it's so loving and gentle. And I mean, thank you.
Christine,
I don't
thank
even know if I
you
asked a question.
thank you for being a part of it.
I
Thank you for
was
being a
like,
part
oh
of
my
it.
God, I can't believe I was there. You know,
Yeah.
and even when I was there, I came back and I was like, was I there? And you invited me to this, and I was looking at photos from then, and I was like, I was there.
You were there, my friend. She had that camera on her shoulder. She was running through fire and Nazis. She was like, Matt, you talk about the scene room. That room. Okay.
Well, in typical Ava fashion, a plan was constructed around a very intricate, likely frowned upon scene that was going to be enacted during the Berlin Film Festival in the place where this unfortunate event actually transpired. And Paul Garns, in fine form, found a way to make it happen. And then maybe, what do you say, about 10 days before,
We changed our minds and changed everything.
a very Ava moment happened where she just looked at me and said, "I'll probably do it in 1." And the next thing you know, it
Was it
went from
originally
2
3
days.
days or 2 days?
It was
It was 2
originally 2
days.
days.
it was 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. And you know, sometimes you're indie. You gotta get it done in 1. So that led us down the path of recruiting some wonderfully talented people that we knew. Christine being one of them. David Stragmeister, an Israeli cinematographer who's a very dear friend of mine, joined us from Tel Aviv. And we proceeded to construct a cambio, Michael Fernandez, who was with us the entire time as well. And we proceeded to construct a plan where we would move through this event in basically chronological fashion, real time, and position everybody in ways that could sort of capture it in the flow of the event and not really break it up into sort of traditional sections where you block a section and shoot it. Sort of everyone was able to move freely, and we all had positions and different areas we would go to based on where the extras needed to be and all sorts of things. So that's basically it. I mean, it was
a horrible event, but we had a good time making it together. Hi, right there in the middle. We have a time for a couple more.
Well, along with what everybody is saying, the compliments that are coming to you that you so well deserve, all of you. I think there's something you added. Not only did you teach me things, but you did something that I think is so special with a scene that kind of might just slip by other people. And I thought you might go in another direction, and I love what you did with the MAGA hat. That you brought humanity to this man at the end of that scene. And instead of making fun of him or anything else, I think it's a very important thing to delivery to this moment, so congrats.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. That makes me so happy what you just said. I appreciate it. That was our goal. Hi, hello ma'am.
First, congratulations, because as ambitious as Isabel Wilkerson's book is, making this film is even more so, because it's taking on at least 3 massive areas of human history that are interconnected. We see her creating pillars on her whiteboard because she knows she has to structure her work. Could you talk a little about how you created your pillars for cinematic storytelling that goes in so many different directions, including multiple flashbacks? How did you structure the script, and did you end up staying pretty close to it when you shot?
Okay. Wow. I enjoyed that question so much and your presentation of it. Thank you. The way I did it is I freed myself by saying that we have to walk away from a studio environment so that we can be free to find it. That was the first thing. And the second thing is I freed myself from the idea, literally any screenwriters in the house, it's all wrong. I broke every narrative rule. Who's the antagonist? Who's the bad guy? You know, what's the act 1 break? You know what I mean? Like all the things that we're told you have to do to make it work. And I really just said, there's no way I'm gonna get to this unless I can free myself from the things that I've been taught are the ways to write the screenplay. And just to try to break form. I'm a documentarian as well. Don't shy away from it. What are the places where you wanna blur those lines? Really trying to push myself in terms of, not trying to create new form, but embrace a form that allowed me to tell this story, because this was an untraditional story. I'm crossing cultures, continents, communities, and I did not want to feel restricted to the rules that I usually abide by. And so my pillars were to just get free in every moment, and you have to have collaborators who are not, you have to have a producer. That's why I only have one producer. It was him and me. That was it. I couldn't have business affairs. I couldn't have the development people at the studio saying, wait, what? This doesn't make sense. How does it fit with this? Just wait, it's gonna come together. Just, you know what I mean? You can't say that. So we really had to put ourselves in an environment where we were free and flexible. And I love your question, and the answer to it was, we had to kind of ignore the rules. And that allowed us to make new ones, and make them and break them almost every day. And, you know, I read something where someone said, the film is beautifully messy. I like that, you know what I mean? I like it, because that's what the story is, and that's what we're experiencing is, and that's what life is, and I feel like it captures exactly what I want to say in the way I want to say it. Thank you for the question. We got one last one right there, and then we're going to go, there are some libations and spirits outside for anyone that needs a drink. Right here.
That woman, you phrased the question far better than I could have, but what this film feels like, Ava, is it's like you've pared back your soul, and we're seeing an aspect of you that feels so deeply personal, and that the message behind this film, I'm curious as to what did you, in your deepest part of yourself, want to say in this film, because you chose to do it at this moment in time, in this extraordinarily vulnerable way in which you've written it, because the script is, it's a love letter, and it's a long poem. It's lyrical and beautiful and unsentimental and harsh and difficult, and it breaks us wide open. And I'm just talking on the script level. So I want to thank you, but I also want to know what led you to this moment.
Well, let me say, this is the great Lorraine Toussaint, one of the actresses. One day, I somehow got word to her that I was hoping that she would be in a film that I was doing that Paul and I made for, how much? $250,000. $250,000. okay? And that's the whole film. And I go to the esteemed Lorraine Toussaint and I said, I can pay you in hugs, ma'am. I give good ones. She said, yes, an incredible performance in a film I did called Middle of Nowhere that really started all I can say to what you said is deeply moving to me, and the thing I could say, I felt ready to make the picture. I feel like everything, and she was also in Selma, I felt like everything that I did, that I've done, led me to this. And when I said I had to get over the lack of confidence, it was a voice telling me, you can't shoot you can't go to Germany, you can't shoot Indian people, you have to shoot Black folks doing it, like this is what you do, right? And you do that real well. I get emotional in thinking about the ways in which I've let the industry, the world, tell me what I can and can't do, and also what I've gotten comfortable doing. And how can I push myself out of that? And so once I got past that, I thought, oh, I know how to do this. Everything I've done has led me to this. Middle of nowhere, indie filmmaking, grasping it, trying to figure out, taught me how to do it. Selma taught me how to do it. 13th taught me how to do it. Wrinkle in Time, $100 million budget, taught me how to do this. When They See Us, 5 hours of storytelling taught me how to do it. All the TV shows we've produced has taught me how to do it. I just need the right people around me who will help me. And it was a very small group, a tight group of people, most of whom I'd worked with before. We got the band back together and we just went out into the world with what we had, 37 days. And it was friendship and camaraderie that did it. And it was me getting out of the things I've been told I can and can't do. And it was breaking all the rules, trying to break the rules. So thank you for the question. Let me just say one thing. You don't understand how much you were affected by the music you heard. Okay. Very, very long time, and you'll remember he said, I saw him win. And he's done the big Bridgerton, all the music in Bridgerton, Space Jam, King Richard, this year The Color Purple. And somehow in that, he said, Chris, can you come? When they see us, can you come and do this for me? And we have 6 weeks. And what did you say, Chris?
Oh, of course. I feel like, remember when Ava called me, I said yes before you really even finished telling me what it was, because I knew it was going to be brilliant, and you talked about how important it was to you emotionally and how much this story, this film meant for you in terms of your expression as an artist. And you called me on a Thursday and asked if we could meet on a Tuesday. I read the entire book over the weekend.
That's rough. Anyone seen that book?
And I just think for me, my process is always a combination of the visceral with the cerebral. There's definitely a lot of study, like learning about Dalit music and rhythms that go into that, or music that was written during the Holocaust and the instrumentation for those pieces, and trying to find a way to combine all those things. But the thing that is always the North Star is the emotion. There's so many times where I'm writing in my studio by myself, thankfully, because I'm mostly in tears watching this film, and the litmus test is always, can I watch this and feel all of these involuntary emotions? And when I add my music, do I still feel those emotions? And I feel like we had such a great and honest time where I would bring in a cue for a very impactful scene, and Ava would be like, I usually cry when I watch this, and I'm not crying right now.
Chris, go back.
but that was for me. That's always the
Or something like Albright.
Sure.
The Albright sequence, where I was kind of bulletproof. Like I could not shoot that little boy. I had to prep so much. I didn't want to cry in front of him, and so I just turned off my emotions. I was like, I will not. I didn't let it in. So even while I was prepping it, while I was working with him, while I was editing it, I never ever cried until Chris put music to it, and it just all came out. And so you took it to a different place. All of it has done that.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, I think it's just the emotional reaction, just always honest. There were so many times where by the time we watched this at Skywalker, the final cut, we just honestly had so many emotions, and I feel like that is always the sign that I've done a job I can feel proud of. So thank you.
You did, Chris. You did. Thank you, everyone.